Not get a situationship hagibon. The way Mr. G back down.
Fezile, let's just be clear. Angisuibhesti wakho. I am your superior. But Mr. G uhlezi ukhuluma ngaye babam. And your boss. Not your scandalous uncle obuya la uvumbuke khona.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ASR, African Stories Realized. This is our recap and review of episodes 6 to 8 of Law, Love and Betrayal Season 1. I'll give a summary of the episodes, then my personal critique, so beware of spoilers. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Episode 6 picks up following Gugu's shocking revelation that she's Mr. Gumede's daughter. But Mr. Gumede rejected her claims, accusing her of being an opportunist after his money. Gugu refreshed Mr. Gumede's memory, revealing the story of how he met her mother, Justine Mabaso, but he was still in denial, reducing Gugu to tears as she stormed out. The following day at GNA, the firm prepared for a big gala in honor of Mr. Gumede, with his friend Judge Makgotso set to present him with the Lifetime Achievement Award. However, Gugu was noticeably absent, leading to speculation amongst her colleagues. Meanwhile, Gugu had her hands full with Double D, the loan shark who arrived at Gugu's home in Tembisa, assaulted Thabo and threatened Gugu, demanding payment by 6 p.m. Gugu confided in James about the loan shark, and with the help of James and Sam, she was able to gather enough evidence to open a case against Double D. When Double D showed up demanding his money, Gugu arrived with the police and arrested him on the spot. Back at GNA, Mr. Gumede revealed to his friend Judge Makgotso that Gugu might actually be his daughter, suggesting that she has an aura about her that reminds him of himself. Just as the gala was about to begin, a prosecutor and the police arrived at GNA, revealing that Judge Makgotso was under investigation for bribery. He denied the charges, insisting that it's a setup by his enemies to sabotage his bid for the Supreme Court of Appeals. Ayanda, Fez, James and Lwazi scrambled to protect Judge Makgotso from the press and police, but in a shocking twist, the key witness against the judge died in a tragic accident, leaving him free to give his speech and present Mr. Gumede with his Lifetime Achievement Award. James organized for a beautiful dress to be delivered to Gugu, and the episode ends with James escorting Gugu to the gala in time to stun Mr. Gumede during his speech. Episode 7 picks up with Ayanda and James grappling with an eviction case, where they were charged with defending a single mother, Miss Piri, against her landlord, Mr. Mtembu, who violently assaulted her during her eviction. In court, Miss Piri's testimony was discredited when Mr. Mtembu's legal team accused her of stealing his gun and threatening him. Miss Piri later admitted to Ayanda and James that in the mayhem of the eviction, she took the gun out of panic, but never used it to threaten him. Ayanda and James were able to flip the case and win a settlement when they threatened to expose Mr. Mtembu for illegally housing an undocumented tenant and never reporting his unlicensed firearm as stolen. Meanwhile, Mr. Gumede instructed Sam to do a thorough background search on Gugu, demanding every detail about her family and upbringing. A suspicious Sam made his way to Gugu's home in Tembisa, where her grandfather told Sam everything about Gugu's late mother and her absent father, who he confirmed was a big-shot lawyer she met at a conference 29 years ago. Sam returned to GNA where he shared what he had discovered with Mr. Gumede, confirming the likelihood that Gugu is his daughter. After dealing with an emancipation case, Gugu was then summoned to Mr. Gumede's office, where he asked Gugu why she didn't come forward all these years. Gugu revealed that she promised her mother that she wouldn't seek him out. Mr. Gumede apologized to the emotional Gugu, and the episode ends as he reveals that the DNA test results had arrived, but he doesn't need to see them to confirm that Gugu is his daughter. Episode 8 picks up as Gugu continued work on an emancipation case. However, Mr. Gumede intervened when he found out that their underage client Vuyo was transitioning from female to male. He immediately demanded that Gugu drop the case, but she refused, leading to a spirited argument between father and daughter in front of the other GNA lawyers. Mr. Gumede ultimately gave in and allowed Gugu to follow through with the case. However, It raised suspicions amongst the other attorneys that the two were having an affair. Ayanda confronted Gugu and then her father with the allegations. Mr. Gumede shut her down and threatened to discipline her. She later returned to Mr. Gumede's office, where he apologized for their earlier argument and tried to tell her about Gugu being his sister, but Ayanda shut him down. Meanwhile, Gugu's case was heard in court, but the judge ruled against Vuyo. Gugu returned to the office after losing the case, where Mr. Gumede cheered her up, revealing that he was proud of her efforts. After work, Mr. Gumede shared a cigar with Ayanda's ex, Trevor, who he still treats like a son-in-law. Mr. Gumede confided in Trevor, revealing that Gugu was his daughter and that he wanted to do right by her, starting with introducing her to his ancestors. Trevor warned Mr. Gumede that Ayanda won't take the news well, so he decided that he'll make a senior partner to soften the blow. Back at Gugu's apartment, James paid her a visit, bringing her some takeaways. However, the visit took a turn when James questioned if Gugu was having an affair with Mr. Gumede. Gugu denied it, and the two came dangerously close to kissing before she asked him to leave. James went to Ayanda's place while Gugu called Thabo over. The episode ends with Gugu and James stopping their respective hookups as they seemingly come to the realization that they have feelings for each other. Not my favorite ending to an episode, but I get what they did there. In episode 6, we were introduced to Ayanda's mother, and it was revealed that Ayanda has a younger brother named Mutli, who Mr. Gumede doesn't care for, with the show suggesting that it might be because of his sexuality, which is why the storyline with the trans client struck a nerve for the Gumedes. I doubt Mutli is a lawyer like his father and sister, which is why Mr. Gumede's speech at his gala was very suspicious when he said he hoped his children will carry on his legacy. Furthermore, when presenting the award to Mr. Gumede, Judge Makgotso stated that Mr. Gumede's children were following in his footsteps. In both these instances, they were already acknowledging Gugu as Mr. Gumede's daughter, and it didn't go unnoticed. Ayanda's suspicions were definitely raised, and the entire office has noticed that Mr. Gumede has a soft spot for Gugu. Ayanda will not be happy to find out that Gugu is her sister. She's already insecure about her relationship with Mr. Gumede, so I doubt that she'll welcome competition for his affection and, in the long run, control of GNA. We saw a different side of Thabo after he discovered that Gugu was Mr. Gumede's daughter. His immaturity began to show, and I'm afraid Mr. Gumede will see him as an opportunist, while Gugu comes to the realization that she's outgrown him. I don't think Gugu had any chance of winning Vuyo's case because Mr. Gumede's friend, Judge Makgotso, was the one residing over the matter. Much like Ayanda warned Gugu, Mr. Gumede might have set her up to lose, knowing very well they still got paid regardless. Nimrod Ngosi's performance as Mr. Gumede has been outstanding. His experience is really shining through, and I've enjoyed all of his scenes. Big up to the entire cast, production, and especially the writers. You can tell the show was written by some serious overthinkers because the script is airtight and very modern. I've been impressed by the incorporation of social media, and in episode 6 they used an argument about AI to defend the judge, and I was impressed with the level of awareness the show portrayed. The last few episodes were not released in the proper aspect ratio, and I'm surprised it hasn't been addressed yet. It shouldn't be hard to fix and re-upload. I can't believe there's 4 episodes left already. The season is flying. We'll be back next week with another review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is ASR for the love of African filmmaking and storytelling.